everyone, and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm Kristen, and this is episode 124. It is November 26th, 2014, and if you are just tuning in, just started watching this podcast, welcome. This is a knitting, spinning, and hand-dyeing podcast, and if you are a returning viewer, listener, lurker, what have you, welcome back. Yeah, so, tomorrow, if you live in the U.S., is Thanksgiving. Yay! So, and I have to be totally honest, the holiday totally crept up on me. I completely forgot that this week was Thanksgiving until I checked my Google Calendar alerted me. By the way, Thursday is Thanksgiving, and I'm like, I've got a pie to bake. I've got stuff to make. It's an ongoing. Anyway, I wanted to get a podcast out early this week, which is why, hence, I'm recording a little earlier this week, because I'm not going to have time on Friday, and I'm not going to have time to do a shop update, as per usual, on Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So I wanted to just kind of give you a little heads up that the next shop update for Voolenvine yarns will be Monday, December 1st at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. So, just to get that out there. Anyway, but yes, I do have stuff to talk about today. And I will hold off on shop update stuff to the end, so stick around for that if you are interested. But yes, what else? For the podcast, I posted something across social media on Monday because I woke up with like this eureka idea. How awesome would it be to have an ornamental long? Should I repeat that? It's an ornamental long. Broken down into segments that is, or explained, that is a knit along for knitting ornaments, because as you know, I've been totally crazy about knitting these. The pattern is called Bluebird of Happiness. It's a free pattern to download on Ravelry. It's just a little tiny stuffy bird, super quick and easy to knit. I blame Molly of the Homespun House podcast for getting me hooked on knitting them. And so I've just been knitting them, obsessed with knitting them ever since. When I was at Gauge Intention for the pop-up shop a couple weeks ago, I treated myself to a bag of Spun Right Round. So if you're not familiar, here's the bag. Did I put the card back in? I did not put the card back in here, but this was a 4-ounce bag of random fiber bumps by Spun Right Round. Very colorful, super pretty. I couldn't resist, and ever since I bought them, I've just been spinning each bump up into these little tiny, they're about like an ounce to a half ounce of fiber. I believe they're about a half ounce each. And here's one that I just spun up. This is like a lavender pink. I should probably save this for spinning, but since I'm on the topic, I might as well just talk about it. So it's just a 2-ply. I basically took each bump, split them in two, and then spun each on separate bobbins into like this fingering, I'd say about a fingering weight single, and then put them on my Lazy Kate, and then 2-plied them together on a separate bobbin. And we have, I would say, enough to make 2 birds of happiness. Is happy birds, plural. Yeah, it's not even noon yet, so I'm still waking up apparently. But that's I've made, since I guess I'm just kind of, I'm working with no show notes this week, as you can probably tell, so I'm just kind of going with whatever comes to mind, so bear with me. But yeah, so far I have a lot of happy little birds that I've knit into ornaments, because I figure these are going to make, I feel like I'm totally digressing here because I started talking about the knit along, but this is kind of backstory, if you will. So the backstory behind the ornament along all started because I started knitting these little birds, and I thought they would make great tree ornaments, or special little gifts for a friend or family member, especially like if you want to knit all the things for your family and you're on a tight deadline for knitting holiday gifts. These are perfect because they take no more than like half an hour, I would say. Especially once you start knitting a lot of them, you start memorizing the pattern. So I have about 5 of them so far. So here's one. Here's 2. And these are all spun right round. How adorable are these colors? And they just knit up perfectly. There's another one, and then here's another one. Cute. And then this one is from, I spun this out of a bonus bump of fiber that I received from Hobbledehoy. And this one is mine. I love it. It sparkles. I don't know if you can see that. But yeah. Squee! Yay. So anyway, as I was getting back to the knit along logistics and what have you, because I'm knitting so many of these, I thought, okay, from now until December 19th, how awesome would it be to just, knit a bunch of ornaments for a tree or a gift or what have you. It doesn't even have to be, it can be non-denominational. You don't have to celebrate anything. You can celebrate Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Festivus, whatever you celebrate or don't celebrate. Feel free to join along. Grinches, Scrooges, welcome. If you just want to knit a stuffy for the heck of it, and because you have all these, random fiber bumps or leftover sock yarn or yarn languishing that you don't know what the heck to do with, and you're tired of knitting hexapuffs or granny square, crochet squares, what have you, that's what this knit along's for. So from now until December 19th, when I will be hosting this knit along. Just knit up as many little ornamental thingies that you can possibly humanly crank out or would like to. There's no limit. I created a Ravelry thread, so just post all your projects there. One post per person, please, because that will, you can edit your post as many times as you like, add photos to it, whatever, just one post per person, because that will make it easier for me once December 19th rolls around to choose a winner, because yes, there will be prizes. We already have two people donating prizes. Wonderful. I will announce them in the next episode. Stitch markers, project bags. Thank you for your generous prize donations. And yes, if you would like to donate a prize, just PM me on Ravelry. And yeah, so it's going to be a lot of fun. This is just for fun, guys. No limit, no deadline, no competition or anything. It's just a fun knit along, make an ornament. Or it doesn't even have to be an ornament for a tree or anything. It could be like for your rear view mirror in your car, what have you. As long as it has like a little thing you can hang it on. Something. I don't know. But yeah, apparently this year I'm putting a bird on it. Yeah. If you're not familiar with that term, I highly suggest you watch Portlandia. It's not terrible. I wouldn't say it's not for children. I mean, I don't think they would get the humor so much, but it's on Netflix. You can stream it, and it's Fred Armisen and Carrie Bernstein, and they're two comedians, and they created this skit based on Portlandia, which is Portland, Oregon, in the U.S. If you're not familiar, and it just kind of makes fun of the hipster culture that's out there, and how ridiculous it is. And it's pretty much the equivalent to like where I live right now in Greenpoint, Brooklyn. Like that's our brother or sister state, if you will, across the map. So if you're curious, definitely check out the very first episode of Portlandia, because put a burn on it. Yeah, you'll get what I mean. But it's funny. Definitely, if you're down for a chuckle and making fun of hipster culture, check it out. I will post a link to that in the show notes if you're curious. But yeah. So anyway, but yeah. So yes, join the knit along. It will be #Orna-Mental KAL if you want to post your projects to Instagram or Twitter. And yeah, other than that, it should be a lot of fun. And I feel like I went on about that for way too long. But anyway, so yes, birds of happiness. I actually did start. I posted a link in the Ravelry thread there are many other ornaments. They don't have to be birds of happiness. There are donut patterns, there are seahorse patterns, there are lumps of coal patterns, pickle patterns. Ravelry is a treasure trove of free, like they have mainly free ornament patterns that you can download and stuff like that. They're hilarious and adorable, so check that out. So that is what's technically off my needles at the moment. On my needles per se, I have not worked on Dennis's cardigan at all. It's still a sleeve. Even though like this past week I was like, I'm going to finish that sleeve. It's going to be done. I've just lost my mojo for that. So it's kind of been languishing in a pile. But next week, I was going to have it done by Thanksgiving, but it was just not in the cards. So his cardigan's kind of on the DL for now. But other than that, I am still plugging away at my holiday socks, if you will. Let me see. Okay. This is my hand-dyed Holly Jolly colorway, which is super popular right now. I've been dyeing it up like crazy. And it's kind of like, it's not an official self-striping as I mentioned last episode, but yeah, it's creating this cool stripey flashing effect. And I've done the heel, and this is my favorite sock pattern, or yeah, it's a free download that I mentioned it a lot last couple of episodes. It's free to download. I wrote it, and it's there for you guys if you are interested in knitting a pair of socks. But yeah, just a basic 1x1 rib, cuff down, basic heel, reinforced heel flap, heel turn, and then I'm on the foot right now. So this is the first sock, and this is on my Lush base, which is a merino nylon cashmere fingering. Super soft. So yeah, at least I'll have Christmas socks. Yay! I was trying to come up with a Hanukkah colorway, and I was having a little bit of trouble, only because, and I was watching Laura of the Dyer's Notebook podcast, and she also said, like, it's not her, like, yes, Dennis celebrates Hanukkah, not like majorly, but, he's Jewish, and, he observes Hanukkah to an extent, and I feel like I should have a take on it, but I have not come up with that colorway. I tried dyeing it, but I wasn't happy with it, and I was kind of, as I mentioned, I was watching Laura's podcast, and yeah, it's not her holiday either, so it's very tricky. You don't want to you want the color to speak Hanukkah, and I feel like I should have Dennis in on that when I'm dyeing, like, so which colors would you pick for Hanukkah, so, but he hasn't been home while I was dyeing, so I couldn't really get his opinion, but I should do that this weekend. Just co-dye something with Dennis this weekend. That'll be fun. That'll be a project. I don't know how he'll feel about that. We'll see. I'll ask. But yeah, anyway, this is Holly Jolly. And almost a sock. The other sock that I've been working on that I cast on at Gauge Intention while I was working there, or vending there, I should say, is my white birch, I believe it's white birch fiber arts. And she does the most amazing, awesome rainbow colorways ever. And this is, again, a sock, and the colorway is, does this black make my rainbow look big, which is an awesome colorway name. And this one, contrary to the last one, is going to be an afterthought heel sock. As you can see, I have like the scrap yarn in there. So yeah, that's where the heel is going to be. This is the cuff down again, 1x1 ribbing, and then I'm on the foot again. So yay. And I believe this is, it's superwash merino nylon. Yeah, and it's a very squishy, I love it. It's a sturdy sock. It's awesome. I can tell I'm going to get a lot of wear out of these, even though they're awesome and I really don't want to wear them. I have a dream of just like filling up a whole, Operation Sock Drawer, as the Knitmore girls are doing, just fill up a drawer full of beautiful, awesome hand knit socks. And they're just there. You pull the drawer open and you get a whiff of, just see all the beautiful socks that you knit and never wear them. Just stare at them, hoard them, like you do. Anyway, but no, I should wear them. I'm actually wearing hand knit socks right now, but I won't show those to you because it's kind of gross. But anyway, yeah. Because by the way, it's snow raining out. If I can describe, it's not sticking, it's too warm for the snow to actually stick, and it's like a combination of just rain. It's raining slush, basically. So I went outside in my wellies today and my hand knit socks, and I was toasty warm. But yeah, it's gross out. If you live on the East Coast and you can stay inside, don't go out. And that's the weather report for today. Also on my needles is currently my favorite project that I'm working on right now. Also on hand dyed is my beeswax hat. And I'm totally blanking on the designer's name. I think her name is Amy. It's Amy Van Der Lars, I want to say. I believe it's Vanda Lars. But yeah, this is an awesome pattern, and I highly recommend it. It's taken me a little bit long to knit, only because of the intricate cabling, if you will. It's honestly, they're just single cables. Super stupid easy to knit, especially if you're new to knitting cables. This is an awesome pattern for you to. This is like a gateway drug pattern into knitting cables, because they're so easy to just slip the stitch and cross over and what have you. But this is on. I don't know if you can see the sparklies. Yeah, there you go. But this is on my Magpie DK base, which is super fine merino, so it's not washable. A blend of super fine merino, silk, and stellina. So that's why I get the sparkle in there. And it is so, so soft. Yeah, there you go. You can see some sparkles. But yeah, I'm actually going to, I don't know, I haven't decided whether or not I wanted to add another cable increase, or cabling pattern repeat, because as you know, I like slouchy hats. And I don't know how slouchy this is going to be, or the original pattern, how slouchy it is. I'll see when I get to that point. I'll try it on. Otherwise, it's not so much a beanie, but it's a little snug. From the photos of the other patterns that I checked out on Ravelry, it looks a little snug, and I may add another repeat of that in there. And yeah, I'm just knitting on, I believe it's size 6, US 6 bamboo needles, and then I have my little, I can't get enough of this guy, my Caterpillar Designs stitch marker from Day of the Dead. Let me see. Yeah, come on. The eye patch guy. He's my favorite. There we go. He's just so happy. Yeah. Let me see. There we go. Yay! He's my favorite stitch marker, the guy with the eye patch. What can I say? So yeah, and again, this is DK. Oh yeah, and the colorway is Moondrop, which is kind of like a grayish purple. It's Poe is very similar, but Poe is more gray, like very light gray with a hint of lavender. This is just like a lavender gray, and I don't know how well. I guess the lighting is picking it up pretty well. But yeah, I'm really loving this. This is gonna be my new go-to hat. As you know, I've been wearing Sophie's Slouch by Kirsten Kapoor, which is my ultimate favorite hat, but because it slouches. But I've been wearing it for 3 years now, and I need to switch things up. I need a little bit more variety. So, and it's held out really well. So I have no complaints. Plus, this one's really special. I don't know, just it's so soft. Anyway, okay. So yeah, that is pretty much it for what is on my needles. Spinning, I showed you. I've pretty much just been doing that. I'm so tempted to dive into my loop bat. I've been taking the class by drafting from woolen to worsted on Craftsy, which is going well. I'm just kind of taking things one thing at a time. I'm pretty much just watching the whole thing through, soaking it up, and then doing the techniques, doing one technique at a time until I feel comfortable. Right now, I'm just trying to get the inchworm going because I've been doing the backwards. Oh gosh, I'm totally thinking. But the backwards draw, the one where you're like, that's my natural default. The way I taught myself how to spin. So now I'm just trying to control, like learning how to control what is going into the orifice. And I'm kind of getting, I can't describe it, but when you're drafting, and instead of the one side getting shorter and shorter, and the other side of the roving that's just kind of getting all mushed up and everything, I'm trying to even out. Like I'm not describing this at all very well, but how to draft while traveling across the roving, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, which is, I'm getting it slowly but surely. I'm kind of, drafting, and then across the strip of roving that I have working, if that makes any sense. So yeah, that is pretty much it for that. do I have any? I don't have any stash enhancements this week, so I've been behaving. Although I have been lurking on Etsy, kind of drooling over certain things, trying to decide what I want to treat myself to. Treat yourself. That's like my mantra. Like whenever I want to buy something, but I know I shouldn't, this little voice in my head just says, "Treat yourself." Yeah. I saw like a cross stitch for that I kind of want to cross stitch up. Maybe I will. I don't know. Cause yeah, why not? Life's too short. YOLO. Haha. Buy the damn shoes. Anyway, that was weird. Okay, but anyway, shop update. So, if you don't want to hear shop update stuff, have a wonderful, wonderful, happy Thanksgiving tomorrow if you live in the States. And I will see you next week. And if you want to hear what's coming down the pike in Voolenvine yarns, stick around because I do have a couple collaborations that I'm working on. So yeah, let's get to it. Shop update stuff. Yes. So as I mentioned, the next shop update will be this coming Monday, December 1st, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the U.S., New York time. So yeah, plan on that. And also, my most popular colorways at the moment that I seem to be getting a lot of demand for are Outlander, no surprise there, Holly Jolly, and Deck the Halls. So to make my life easier, and I'm sure to make your life easier, so you don't have to PM me on Etsy or social media hoping that I get it, which I do, but it just makes my life easier and knowing how much I have to dye up at a time. I made those specific colorways made to order. So what that means is that instead of having to PM me, simply before you add the skein of yarn to cart, simply just select the base that you would like me to dye it on, and then select the quantity, like how many skeins you want me to dye it on, and then add to cart. So you will have already purchased it, but then that'll show up in my order list, and then I can immediately know what I have to dye up for you. So no questions asked. So yeah, I mean, of course, if you have any questions, just let me know. And of course, if you're curious about what each base is, definitely check out my website, voolenvine.com. That's VOOLENVINE, and click on the About Yarn tab. And that'll give you like a whole list of all my bases and a description, the price, and everything. So it'll make it a lot easier for you to choose which base that you would like it on. But yeah, I dye every colorway across the board on all my bases. So yeah, I hope that makes it a lot simpler for you guys. And yeah, so far it's working out. I started doing it on Monday, so yeah, so far so good. And that's about it for that. And I just started dyeing up a new colorway, and I don't have it on me, but I've been obsessed with it. It's kind of like a new technique that I'm trying out. I'm sure it's not new to many dyers, but it's weird. Like I go through like these phases of dye techniques when I get obsessed with them, and then I just kind of I fall in love with it, and then I want to dye all the colorways that way. So right now I'm kind of in love with this technique that I'm trying. But yeah, check it out on my Etsy shop. It's called not Angel. It's called Fairy Hair. So it's like a purplish variegated, like subtle variegated with like purple, mauve, blue, and it's really pretty, and I have a lot of fun dyeing it up. So definitely check that out. Maybe I'll post a photo of it here. But I'm gonna have a lot of colorways coming down the pike dyed in that fashion, so stay tuned for that. The other thing that I want to talk about are collaborations. Yay! I probably should have talked about this earlier, but anyway, as I mentioned last week, me and Laura of Jinx Yarns, and the host of the Dyer's Notebook podcast, are doing a collaboration. She dyed up 10 skeins of yarn, and I dyed up 10 skeins of yarn, and we swapped. We each mailed each other what we dyed to each other. So I have 10 skeins of whatever she dyed, and she has 10 skeins of whatever I dyed. And then the next step is for me to dye over that, or to take it to the next level, basically. So put my own spin on whatever she dyed, and she's going to do the same. So she's going to show off what she did on her next episode on this coming Monday, December 1st. And she usually updates what is it? Tuesdays, I believe. So that should be available in her shop this coming Tuesday. Don't quote me on that if it's going to be in her shop this Tuesday or the following Tuesday. I have to check my email. So I will of course post a correction below. Um, but yes, and mine will be available the date here for you to purchase it. So yeah, definitely, check it out. It should be it's going to be a lot of fun. I haven't dyed my skeins up yet, but she's dyeing up hers now. I'm gonna try and do a little today, so wish me luck. But yeah, it'll be super fun and exciting, and I'm almost hesitant to. I want to show it to you, but I'm going to let it be a surprise. I am going to take a photo of what the original colorway was. But it's so pretty, I'm almost hesitant to like dye over it, but I'm gonna have fun. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And the next fun thing that's coming up, collaboration challenge, if you will. Ellie, as I mentioned, Ellie and Dave of FO and Die, they have their own Etsy shop and podcast called appropriately FO and Die. If you have not checked their podcast out, check them out. They're hilarious. They're awesome friends, and they're in the UK. So across the pond, love them. And yeah, so Ellie and Dave came up with the awesome challenge, or I believe it was Dave at first, who thought, hey, let's get a handful of dyers, have one theme, and have them do their take on it. Because every dyer has their own creative take on something or a concept or what have you. So he pulled it out of a hat, Dave, and the theme was seven wonders of the modern world. So that was the theme, and they're like, have at it. So it's me, Ellie, and Laura who partook in the challenge. I've already dyed mine up, and we're gonna get together next week and show off all our renditions of the seven modern wonders of the world. So yeah, stay tuned for that, and I will of course post a link to that episode when it airs. So that is pretty much it, I believe. That's it for shop updates. So other than that, blather. My nose is itching, guys. I'm like surrounded by fibers, so I apologize for going like that the whole time. But yeah, other than that, blather. Thanksgiving is coming up, and I have some baking to do. So I am baking a pumpkin cheesecake pie with a gingerbread crust. Now, baking is not specifically my forte, because I generally prefer the savory end of things, but it was upon request. My mother-in-law had requested that I bake that, or suggested it. I don't know, but I'm like, yeah, I can do that, because I think everyone is baking their own thing, so I think the pie was needed. So I was like, I'll do that. So I found this recipe, and it's gonna be interesting to create. So we'll see. I've never baked a pie crust from scratch before, and I was actually talking to Laura earlier today, and I was kind of torn. She goes, just follow the recipe, you'll be fine, don't try to change it in any way. I'm like, that's funny you should say that, because I found this other recipe that called for bourbon in their cheesecake, but I like the idea of having a gingerbread crust. So I'm like, I was thinking of adding. She's no, follow the recipe. So that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play it safe and follow the recipe. I will post photos to Instagram as I bake, and let you know how my progress goes. But anyway, so that's that. But yeah, me and Dennis were driving down to his brother's place down in Pennsylvania, and that's where our niece and nephew are. And the whole family's driving down there because we live in the city. We have a small apartment. They live in the suburbs. They have a huge house where they can accommodate family. Otherwise, me and Dennis would, I would love to host Thanksgiving. Although it's a huge responsibility. I don't know. But, yeah, so we're doing that. And then we're going to stay over the night and kind of make a day out of Friday, since we're going to be in Pennsylvania. Maybe drive into Philly or something and, get a cheesesteak or go to a museum or something. We did that 2 years ago and had a lot of fun. So, yeah, we'll just kind of turn it into a mini getaway for the holidays. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. Every year, by the way, we alternate. So this year it's Dennis's turn, and then next year will be my family's turn for Thanksgiving. So, FYI. Yeah. Other than that, blather. You probably noticed something a little different. I dyed my hair. It's very subtle. You can't really make it out, but it's the ends are purple. I did kind of like an ombre thing because I'm my own boss now. I can do whatever the heck I want. How awesome is that? So yeah, I've been wanting to dye it for a while, but finally I got the chance to. But it's so subtle. It's more in daylight. When you're outside, you can see it. It's more, wow, purple. But for some reason, my hair did not want to bleach because I have all these layers of dark brown black underneath, and the black is very hard to get out. I bleached it twice, and it only wanted to get up to like this caramel kind of color, and then I used some toner on it, and that got out the coppery color a little bit, but not so much. But then I was like, all right, I invested all this time, I'm just gonna dye it. If it turns out terrible, I can always dye over it. So that's what I did. I used a combination of Manic Panic, Electric Amethyst, and Purple Haze. And so far, I mean, I like it. I like how it's not too loud. I told Dennis that I dyed it. I texted him, and he's like, "Oh my god!" He almost kind of freaked out a little bit. But then he came home. He didn't even notice it. And then I'm like, "Oh," he's like, "Oh yeah, it's not that bad." I'm like, so it's very subtle. Of course, Laura was like, "This is the gateway drug into dyeing your whole head." We'll see about that. I don't know. It seems like a lot to maintain. So right now I'm just kind of having fun, seeing where it goes. But yeah, we'll see. I'll see. It's fun. So I like it. I love the way it turned out. So I'm happy. Yay. So awesome. So lots of so's. Wow. See, I was trying to pace myself not to say too many ums or so's throughout the entire episode until now when I'm just kind of tongue tied. I don't know what to say. So that must mean that it's the end of the episode. And that said, if you live in the East Coast, happy Thanksgiving. I hope you eat lots of turkey, tofurkey, veggies, yams, pie. Get to spend time with your family, friends, or just have a wonderful time off. And if you don't celebrate, I still hope you have an awesome week ahead of you, and I will see you next time. Happy knitting. Bye. Mwah.